Welcome to the 38th episode of Toast the Toss. And we have, as usual, very serious guests today, unlike our last episode, which also we had serious people. Last time we were in person, this time we are back on Zoom to probe about India's tour of England. But first of all, the most important question I would like to ask Tejas. Tejas, who watches 50 overs matches, one day internationals in this day and age?
I think at least it's been difficult. I think whenever we speak about the significance of T20 cricket, right from 2008, right when we had the 2007 when we had the first World Cup, everyone was thinking that Test cricket will be the one which will be affected, but actually it turned out to be this weird middle child. It's the middle child problem. Because it is not as fast paced as T20, and it probably is not as engrossing as Test cricket as well. So it has lost. I think it has been on a downward spiral since 2007, and now I think it has lost a lot of context now. Although pure cricket fans probably like us, we follow and probably watch the game entirely, but I don't think 50 overs cricket has a lot of future in the next 10 years. So for your question, not a lot of people watch it. There is only a minority now, but that minority will also diminish in 5 to 10 years.
Bidu,
Right?
Bidu, do you agree with those grave views?
I do, because if just think about India, England, when we were kids, the naturalist win that India had over England in 2002 is something which we all cherish. It was at par with the World Cup win at that stage. Obviously, the 2003 World Cup happened later, but we all felt the impact that it had when Ganguly was waving his shirt at Lords. After that, the tour of Australia, which is always used to be a tri-series, the CB series. India touring Australia, they have a team like Sri Lanka or something who like make the tri-series. So yes, the series are not having those contests, but again, it is also because of the World Cup cycle. Right now, it is a T20 World Cup cycle, and people are interested in the T20 version of the game more, and they're just trying and testing the squad. And once I didn't think if it was an important series, Jasprit Bumrah would have left the match because of whatever little injury he had. But just because India had won the match and there was no context to the series, he just rested.
Great. Well, Jasprit Bumrah had a lovely one-day international series. I believe he took 8 wickets. And before we go on discussing the statistics of the series, let's get into the first match. So can tell someone, okay, Bidu, can you tell me what was the output of the first test ODI? Was it a ODI or was it a T20?
The scorecards say it was a T20, but then the third T20 feels like a one-day international, the amount of runs that England and India scored. But yes, you can, I think the bowlers for the first time, or probably in one of the rare occasions, have dominated the batters. You can see Indian top order batting not doing well regularly. It's just that England are also not doing well, so we cannot really blame them. But for the first time in the entire series, I think, including the T20Is, Indian bowlers were really bowling well. Not only the first line bowlers, including Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but also the people who are coming in later. Even Hardik Pandya was feeling like a front-end bowler, the kind of impact that he was having, the short pitch stuff that he was bowling to the England batters, and obviously Yuzvendra Chahal. So I would say, yes, the less score England did score some 100, 110 runs, but it was majorly because India actually was bowling really well.
Okay. Tejas, my question to you, my favorite question to you, whenever this topic comes up. So would you credit the Indian bowlers or would you credit it to that amazing concept called Bazball?
I think you hit the nail on the coffin, right? I think, I mean, at least the dismissals that I saw in the first match, right, apart from what who was that? I think Joe Root's dismissal, which was a proper bowler's wicket. I think most of the wickets were batsmen throwing away their wickets, or rather throwing away the wickets in search of runs or being aggressive. So in the 50-over game, I felt that batsmen didn't really realize that they have enough time to soak up the pressure and get a score of about 300 or 320. The bat sensibly. It's this new concept of going gung ho from ball one, accommodated for most of the wickets. No disrespect to the bowlers, they bowled really well, but I think it was more of batsmen's intent or aggressiveness or baseball, they say these days. So that accounted for more wickets than actual skillful bowling. So that is why I feel 50 overs cricket will vanish in certain years, because I don't see anyone having the temperament in a white ball game to soak up the pressure and build an innings. It's just hit out or get out kind of a mentality. So yeah, baseball definitely is the norm. We cannot escape that, but it's sad to see ODI cricket suffer because of that.
So to give the viewers a context of why I detest baseball is that we have seen similar thing happening with the KKR, the team being coached by Brendan McCullum before he took the stint with English cricket team. My problem with baseball is primarily that batsmen, even in T20, they lack the patience to build an innings. So that was a big concern for me when I was seeing people and very skillful batsmen throwing away their wickets just in the mood to score runs. So that is the biggest draw I feel of baseball. But nonetheless, the English media loves it, the English players love it, and they have got some incredible results. I I hope there's some levity brought to the whole concept of baseball. But then we'll move to the second ODI, where England bounced back and rightfully so. And it was mostly to be the credit was to be given to a bowler called Topley. So Bidu, what is your impression of this emerging bowler Topley? Or has he already emerged?
I didn't see the match live, so I just know that he picked up a lot of wickets. I don't even know how he picked up a lot of wickets, so I might not comment rightly on him. But English players, I was actually astonished to find new players coming in very quickly, because on my top of the mind, the bowling squad looked something like Mark Wood. There would be Sam Curran, there would be Tom Curran bowling. So obviously Jofra Archer. So those kind of bowlers were in my mind since last 1 year. So I was actually looking once that Jofra Archer is not informed. Tom Curran went for a lot of runs in IPL. Even Chris Wokes was really bowling well last year, and he is not in the team right now. So I was really interested to see who is coming back in. So it augurs well for England. They were gone back to David Wiley, who was there in 2016 T20 World Cup when it was happening in India. In the years 2018-19, he became a top order batsman for a short while. He was coming in at number 4, 5, and playing those batting shots as a batter. So I was really interested to see who England throw in. I don't think Adil Rashid was also there in this team. Was he? He was there? Okay, might not have that much of impact. So I think it augurs well for England. They have one more option. And
did you mean in this series, Adil Rashid?
Yes.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, so he wasn't there. So I think England had a completely new bowling lineup coming into the series. But they did well. It was not the reason why India won. So the fact that English bowlers did pick up wickets, I think is good for the England team. That's all I can say.
But again, this brought in the idea that Indian batsmen are susceptible to left arm pace bowling. So Tejas, your views, because there was a lot of discussion about the same. So Tejas, your views about Indian bowlers against left arm pace.
I mean, since the time of, I think it was Jason Behr. No, Wasim is anyway. I think he troubled just about everyone he bowled to. Legend of the game himself. But I think there was the series against Australia, I think in 2016 or 2017, it was a T20 series, and we saw someone called Jason Behrendorff, who's a decent bowler, but he troubled India so much so that we were down, I think, 3 wickets for 4 runs, top order. And then came, of course, Mohammad Amir's a spell in the Champions Trophy finals, and then Trent Bolt in the 2019 World Cup, and then we stopped now with 6 wickets, and not to forget Marco Jansen troubled us with his left arm angle and with his bounce in South Africa. Now, also in the IPL, we saw that Kohli getting out to Marco Jansen again, left armer over there. So I mean, it's definitely a problem for sure, especially against bowlers or left arm bowlers who can bring the ball back in to the right handers. I think right from Rohit, Dhawan, and Kohli, all three are not so good commenting against them. They need to find a way. Easier said than done, but I think it's been going on for far too long. And these quality players, I think they should find their way. And there is a problem. They should acknowledge it and try to find a way.
Okay, so from the bowlers matches, the first 2 matches were actually dominated by the bowlers. Like they helped their team for the victory chiefly. But then the third and final match of the series was where we had the most controversial wicket keeper. Means like it's not controversial. A lot of people keep chiming in their views about Rishabh Pant. He had a lovely ODI. So Bidu, did you watch this match at least?
Yes, I did watch it. So
What were
I
your
watched it
views?
for different reasons. I watched it for Virat Kohli because I knew that he was going to be rested for quite a while. So I wanted to see how he was approaching this game, and especially it was a chasing game. So again, flattened to deceive. For Rishabh Pant, I would say that his ODI innings had a lot of question mark. He was finding it difficult to keep his place in the T20I, and hence he was opening the batting as a last sort of measure to keep him in the team. So I think this innings augurs well. Again, I feel that his role in the ODI team is important because he is a part of the test team. So even if there's a need to build the innings, he has the temperament to build the innings. Of course, he has every chance of getting out in every ball because of the way he plays, but he does have the tenacity to hang in there and play long innings. He also had a missed stumping. If he would have been out, everybody would have complained that he is out very early, but he survived that stumping, and then he went on to score a lot of runs. And obviously, at the end, he just kept on, in a nonchalant way, he kept on hitting boundaries everywhere. But before the match, Rohit Sharma had told that if India will find themselves at a situation where they're 30 for 3, 40 for 4, then they would, instead of, consolidating, they would actually hit their way out of the park. That did not actually happen exactly the same way, but both batsmen Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant had the capability to do that, but they instead chose to first build it and later on probably go after the bowlers.
Okay, Pant had an amazing series as a batsman. So did Hardik Pandya. Tejas, your views about the re-emergence of Hardik Pandya, or should I call it Hardik Pandya 2.0 or 3.0?
It definitely looks like a different person altogether since the last time we saw him perform well for India. I think it really bodes well for the Indian team. I think the swagger that, or rather the confidence that he has when he comes on to bat or bowl, I think that itself, the body language he has, that shows that he's in total control of his game. And I think he's at the peak of his powers. You can call him 2.0, 3.0. I think the best thing is just the confidence that he has. Forget about the skills he has as an all-rounder, which are incredible and impressive. But I think the kind of confidence he brings onto the field, it is something else. And I don't think I've seen anything like that with any Indian cricketer before. Even the aggressive ones, even the mild ones or the introvert ones, I don't think I've seen this kind of confidence on a cricket field by an Indian. So it can work both ways, a double-edged sword, as they say. But I'm just loving it watching Hardik Pandya on the field.
To be honest, I'm actually have become a fan of Hardik Pandya 2.0. The resurgence has been amazing. And if I go through the statistics, he just came second in the most runs scored after Pant, and he also took 6 wickets in the series. So that speaks a lot. Well, a lot of people were telling that his bowling arm is gone and all that, but fortitude. One should respect Hardik Pandya for the fortitude he has shown during the series. So I will just quickly go through the statistics. The top 5 runners for the series were Pant, Pandya, Ali, Butler, and Sharma. Uh, Surprisingly, Mohammad Shami pipped both Kohli and Joe Root as in the number of runs scored. So, yeah, your short views about Joe Root also failing along with Kohli. Bidu.
I don't think Joe Root failed that badly. Look, I don't know whether we should discuss Kohli or not, but look, there's only one thing that I can say. So Kohli was actually playing in a different way. If you remember, what defined Kohli over the years is that he was playing through the V. He was playing along the ground, even if when we scored 900 runs in that RCB in 2016. So he was not playing those lofty drives or hitting sixes. He was scoring runs consistently at a faster pace. That was what is differentiating him. But right now he is coming and probably trying to hit at a scoring rate which is not unusual for him as a player. Whether he continues to do that in the Asia Cup leading up to the T20 World Cup is something which we have to see, and how it pays off for him. Because look, there are accumulators at the top. KL Rahul kind of plays that sort of an innings. Rohit Sharma, he never plays. At the beginning he never goes out playing all those big shots. So it will be interesting to see if Kohli retains his place and how exactly that role would be. Because the alternatives where I think what would work for him is Shah not doing well. One competition is less. But yeah, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Ishan Kishan. So these are the players who actually are in that mix.
Okay, I'll just have a question for Tejas. By the way, Bidu, when you were describing about Kohli's performance in that IPL 2016, right, when he scored 900 runs, Tejas is you should watch Tejas's expression. Wow, the imagery you do. Okay, Tejas, a quick one. Kohli over Sanju Samson?
Yeah, definitely Kohli. I mean, all things said and done, I think he's the legend of the game. You cannot really keep him off at such a big stage like World Cup, right? If we are building a team for the World Cup, and that too in Australia, and there he has scored tons of runs. I think you cannot leave out someone like Kohli, but maybe after this World Cup, I probably would think the seniors will step away. Rohit Sharma included for that matter, and probably let Pant or KL take the team forward for the next T20 World Cup. I think it'll be a logical end for them too. But for Australia, no one else other than Kohli at 3. I don't think you drop such a player at the biggest stage of performance. Yeah.
Okay.
Any day, Kohli or something.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen, for your views about India's tour of England and the ODI series. So now we'll be moving from the ODI to a very interesting test match that happened in Sri Lanka. First of all, I would like to ask Bidu. Bidu, do you agree with the idea of having a series right when there's a revolution happening or there's a huge protests happening in Sri Lanka? I means like you have to give the credit to the people that they did not do anything, but I was damn scared of the mob actually when Australia was playing, even when and then Pakistan is visiting Sri Lanka. Your views about the safety of the players in this context? I know this is not
I can just give my perspective towards it. I don't know what is the right answer to it. I can take a correlation to what happened in 2008 in Mumbai. So England were there in India, and that attack happened at Mumbai, and then England player did go away and for a few times, but Kevin Peterson, who was their captain that time, he brought the team back. I'm not sure whether they went away or they were still in India, but they continued to play that innings. And the moment when India won the match, they scored 380 runs in the last day to win it. It was Sachin Tendulkar who scored a century, and in the man of the match, he just dedicated the entire victory to the people of Mumbai, to all the people. In a way, he meant that cricket is something which gives joy to the people, irrespective of what is happening in their lives. I remember in 2001 when the earthquake happened in Gujarat, India won a series against Australia that time, and again people came together. So if cricket means that much to Sri Lankan fan, I think it should continue, because it's, after all, it's just a game. That's why people keep on saying, irrespective of whatever it's happening between India and Pakistan, the players should play the match. And both entertainment and cricket should be devoid of politics as of now. But when it comes to safety, yes, I mean, it's a difficult situation, especially when what has already happened to Sri Lankan players when they were in Pakistan. So yeah, there's no right answer, but I, as a fan, would prefer matches continuing.
Oh, I love
think,
to.
no, I think
Yes,
we should
yes,
put in a word for Sri Lankan fans as well. I think they behaved pretty well during the Australia series as well. The political unrest is a separate thing. I think whatever they're fighting for, at least from my observation, they have kept it separate. I don't think anyone who is coming onto the stadium is doing anything which is getting, I mean, pulling the game down or something. I think they're enjoying the game. I think a little bit of sanity is left currently is because of the games that are happening, and also for the fact that Sri Lankan team has been performing decently well as well. So I think the matches should continue. I think the Sri Lankan crowd are smart enough to understand what to do and what not to do at what places. So I feel the matches should go on. And kudos to Sri Lankan cricket fans at least. They've kept it to themselves and for protests and all in other means, and not in the stadium.
Okay, I loved your views. I had a slightly different opinion, but I loved the perspective of what you brought. And maybe I should stop revisiting Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. Okay. And on that note, we'll discuss the series. It was pretty interesting. So, Pakistan surprised Sri Lanka on their home turf. So, Tejas, your views about, could you tell us what happened during the test?
It was a fun test match to watch for the first 3 days. I was following it because let's be honest, Sri Lanka versus Pakistan has always given us a lot of entertainment, especially when they played Gaul. So I think the first 3 days, really good bowling. Wicket was helping the bowlers, and the way Babar Azam and Chandimal batted for the respective teams, amazing. But in the fourth innings, I think Sri Lanka lost the plot. So I was coming across this very interesting stat where the top scorer, Abdullah Shafiq, right? He scored 160 odd. He only scored 7 boundaries in his innings. So that is what 42 runs. Sorry, around 40 runs.
runs.
Yeah, 28 runs. So apart from that, everything is runs. Twos or threes or singles. So that tells me that Sri Lanka got a little defensive way too early. I think there were more boundary riders than catching positions, and that can actually help a team who is chasing a big total, right, to just keep on taking on the runs. So this is where I think captaincy can be questioned from Karunaratne, because if a batsman who has scored 160 has scored only 7 boundaries, then I mean, whichever way you want to look at it, it's defensive field set and bowling. So yeah, that's where they lost the plot. I think 344 should have been defended easily. That red call.
Yeah, means like I'm getting a little scared after watching the last match involving Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Is that people will just forget the fears of batting both on even on a subcontinent pitch for that matter. Bidu, one thing I would like to ask you is that did you see the ball of the century once again?
No, I didn't see it. I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, so Yasir, he bowled a ball and it was almost similar to the ball bowled by Shane Warne to Mike. Whom did he bowl?
Mike Getting.
Mike Getting, yeah. So this time, Yasir Shah, he bowled a ball, and which was to a certain extent identical to that ball, and it was a great ball actually. Tejas, your views. I hope
Yeah, I
you
was
saw that.
fortunate to see it live actually.
Oh,
I,
nice.
I was watching during one of my break times. I was just watching. Wonderful ball. It probably didn't drift as much as, of course, Shane wants. I think that's still the best ball ever. Didn't really drift and pitched closer to leg stump than what once delivery was. But you can figure out how good the ball was with the with the expressions of the batsman. He was stunned, Kusal Mendes, so that told the whole story. Good moment for Yasir. He was coming back after a long time. I think 10 or 11 months he was not in the team. Good. Overall, not a great test match for him, but I think that moment at least would have given him a little bit of confidence, and probably that will bring back leg spinners into test matches. We don't really see them a lot in test matches these days. So I hope he's back and we'll get new leg spinners into the game too.
Okay. From one island, from one island to another island, to another island. So now India is going to visit, or tomorrow the series is commencing against West Indies. So Bidu, are you really looking forward to this series? The question is, will you stay awake to watch this series?
I will stay awake. How much I watch depends upon how the West Indies turn up. I think there might be a little bit of surprise because Nicholas Puram is actually now become the full-time captain and he is going to handle the team. He has shown splashes of form in the IPL, a little bit of consistency which was required for him. But beyond that, I would also like to see how Shikhar Dhawan performs in this series because doors were almost shut for him, and now he is the captain. He was the captain before he was dropped, and now he is the captain. So with all the top order players that India have, both in one day and T20, I have to see how he responds, especially when he is leading the team, knowing that when India is in the full strength side team, he is not playing. So I have to see how he performs. And yeah, so I know that this is for a trial purpose. People would be tried and tested, even if someone runs away, like suppose Rituraj Gaikwad, who is likely to partner Shikhar Dhawan if he scores 200. That doesn't mean he is going to play for the rest of the matches as well. So it's interesting to see which team comes up, especially in the bowling lineup. I don't think Deepak Shah is still fit or is there because he's actually going down the pecking order now. When in the last 2-3 years, given that Rashid Krishna, Mohammad Siraj in the last game, he just reminded us that he's also there in the periphery of the court. So for these two purposes, one is how Shikhar Dhawan performs and how the bowling lineup, the second string bowling lineup performs against the West Indies.
Okay. Tejas, okay, I don't know what is there to discuss about the series. I hope it is an exciting one. And there's so much cricket happening that I tend to forget also what is happening in other parts. I believe Bangladesh was visiting West Indies, and they happened to win the series over West Indies. So, do you think West Indies still pose any challenge to visiting teams?
No, I mean, I think you should take that Bangladesh series with a grain of salt, knowing that West Indies won the Test series and the T20 series as well, comprehensively, no doubt.
Mm.
The only blemish, I think, the one-day series is because the pitches were really subpar for one-day cricket these days. You can see it was all low scoring, slow, low wickets. No one really wants that kind of wickets in ODI cricket anyway, because as we discussed, ODI is vanishing from us, so we can take it from a grain of salt. Hopefully, the pitches for India series, I think, taking in consideration of the broadcast, because Indian viewers, right, they will prepare better pitches, and West Indies will be much more competitive than they were against Bangladesh. So, if the pitches are right, they're a good team. I think they can cause an upset or two. Jason Holder is back in the squad as well, so he'll be doing well. Yeah, as for India, I don't think they are. I mean, they're set to gain a lot of things from this series, but I'd like to see how Deepak Hooda goes about his business. I think he's batting as well as ever I've seen. So it's a little unfortunate that there is no place for him currently in both the white ball squad. But I hope he takes it in his strides and keeps on performing. And you never know, he might be on the plane to Australia.
Deepak Hooda has come a long way from 2014. He was one of the most impressive players in that under 19 squad.
I
Speaking
think
about, yeah,
one
yes,
thing that
Tejas.
goes with Deepak Hooda is he can also bowl, and anyone
Yeah.
in your top six, if he can bowl, then we've seen right how much of a value addition that kind of a player is. So you never know. I hope he performs well because whatever I saw of him in Ireland and even against the West Indies last year when they played one day, right? He looks like a solid player, and I hope he does well.
Okay, we have almost come to the end of the show, and before we leave the show, two West Indian players have called it quits. They have decided to retire. I'm talking about Dinesh Ramdin and Lendl Simmons. Bidu and Tejas, you are avid cricket fans. Your memories about these amazing players. And don't bring up Dinesh Ramdin's letter to Viv Richards.
So that's if that the memory wiped out. So I'll start with Lendl Simmons. So I think Lendl Simmons' career had a second win when he started playing for Mumbai Indians, and he performed exceedingly well in IPL for a couple of seasons. And then in the T20 World Cup again, Lendl Simmons had a terrific performance when West Indies won that World Cup. So I think he was a really good top order batsman who provided a lot of stability. And yeah, I mean, it's very you never know when West Indies players retire when they are not playing because they play so less. They sometimes get dropped. Sometimes there's some issue with their action. Sometimes there is issue related to their their affinity towards T20 games. So you never know when they are dropped, when they are not in the team, when they are retired. So yes, it was news to me, but it was far lesser news than Ben Stokes retiring midway.
Oh, I forgot that. Okay, Ben Stokes, we'll discuss him some other series. He's not retired from international cricket. Tejas, your views about the retirement of Lendl Simmons and Dinesh Ramdin.
Lendl Simmons is perhaps the most different cricketer, at least that I have seen, because he's someone who will be, 1 of 10 when he is batting, and suddenly he'll be 12 of 12. So 13 of 12 or whatever. So he's that kind of a player, mercurial, as many West Indies players are. Really good to watch when he's in full flow, and no one will forget his amazing innings in 2016 T20 World Cup semi-finals. Right, he was caught off a no ball. I think he was dropped as well, and then he made India pay big time. So I hope he does well. I think he'll be playing franchise cricket in future. So, all the best for him. Dinesh Ramdin, I think the first time I saw him was when he played for Trinidad and Tobago back in the Champions League T20 that we used to have. Of course, his defining moment has to be the Test century and his note to Sir Vivian Richards. But yeah, solid cricketer. I think played perhaps one of the best players of spin in the West Indies team. Unfortunately, few things didn't work out for him, but yeah, hopefully he has a wonderful
Definitely,
second
he
innings.
had a lot of potential, which Viv Richards actually mentioned. Where he was disappointed that players were throwing away the wickets. That brings, I don't know what would be Viv Richards' response to or his reaction to baseball actually, but that we will discuss.
He'd say, yeah, I have done this 30 years ago, so don't even bother.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the show. But, ladies and gentlemen, do watch our show. If you like it, hit the subscribe button. And we have a lot on our podcast network, the Toast Network. And we will be having shows. We have shows on Formula One and tennis, and we have started meeting in person also. So probably next month we will all meet again in person and have a wonderful time as always. Thank you for watching. Over and out.